Alright guys, what we're doing here is we're mixing adhesive. What we got is we got the Ultraflex, it's tile mortar, got our bucket, got our drill, and just in case, we got our extra battery. It's pretty straightforward, it's pretty simple. You put that into the bucket with water. Now put water in the bucket first because it makes it easier to mix. Now if you put the Ultraflex or the adhesive into the bucket first and then you pour water on it makes it more difficult. So when you put the mortar into the bucket with water in there, already in there, remember that it has put the water in there first. It makes it easier. It makes it simpler, and it gives it flow. Now when this stuff's ready to go is when you'll be able to feel it. If you do this 7 or 8 times, you can feel it in the drill itself. So let me give you an example. You take your mortar. It can be pretty heavy. Don't be shy about putting it in there. You pour it in, like so. Get a nice, good amount in there. See, I got a pretty good chunk of mortar already in there. So what you want to do, get it, start drilling it, get a nice mix. A lot of times if you have a lot more in here, you want to go in up and down motion, that way you get all the stuff on the bottom, but there's only about a quarter bucket of mortar in here, so now if you look in here and you get a real nice close look, you can see that it's not ready. Now the reason is that it drops off this thing way too easy, and you can see the water kind of glistening on the top of it. So what you want to do is throw a little bit more in there. We don't, now you don't want to overdo it. Now what we're just trying to do is just get enough in there so it's not so soupy. And the reason is that you don't want to take your trowel and stick it in the bucket and only have a little bit on the trowel. Most of it will slip off. Or you try to get it on the wall and it'll just start dripping. Now it's got a good consistency to it. Now this bucket here is ready to go. Now the bucket that you want to use, you can use older buckets, but you got to make sure they're clean. And the reason that I say that is a lot of times you get a bucket and if you have clumps in there, it's going to get into the mortar. And then when you start putting that stuff on the wall, it's gonna take when you put the tile on, it's gonna pop that tile out a little bit, or it's gonna throw it off, or it's gonna be in the joint and it's gonna pop, it's gonna pop the rest of the mortar out. So you want to make sure that your bucket is also clean or brand new. Usually I go to Home Depot and I'll buy 50 buckets at a time, and typically I'll use it and I'll toss it. It's pretty wasteful, but to tell you the truth, I don't want to take 25-30 minutes just to clean a bucket. So I use new ones, but you don't have to. The water that you use for this really doesn't matter. It can be clean, it can be dirty, just make sure there's nothing in it that's going to mess around with the wall, that's going to pop that tile off. So you can use dirty water, doesn't matter. All this is, it's an adhesive. It goes on the wall, so that when you stick your tile onto the wall, it has something to grasp onto it. It's very straightforward, very easy to do, it's not complicated. You can buy this stuff in a bag, or you can buy the stuff that's pre-made, but it depends what I'm doing. If I'm using small 6x6 or 3x6 tiles on the wall, then typically I like to use the stuff in the bucket because you know, it just makes the job a little bit easier. But when I use bigger tiles, larger tiles like I'm using on this job, I'm using 13 by 13 tiles, and most of the time it's either 13 by 13 or 12 by 12, whatever. Then I like to mix my own because I like it to be a little bit thicker and a little bit stronger than the stuff that you're going to buy in a bucket. So right now, this is just showing you how to mix your grout properly. So if you want to look at my other videos, feel free to look at the other videos. Give you some tips on tiling itself. You can find us at www.callahanbrothersconstruction.com. If you need to contact us, if you have questions, we're up here in Minnesota. We mainly work out in the metro area. We do residential and commercial. Commercial, we travel. So you probably don't need to look at my face anymore because I am an ugly bastard. So thank you for stopping by and watching the video. Yeah, I know, pretty cheesy.